Hi, this is Jordan Helmosman, science writer and creator of the YouTube channel known as Earth Under Emergency. In each of our videos, we discuss a particular environmental issue and the science behind it, while sometimes also discussing the politics behind it. Lately, there have been some overlapping issues. We discussed chemical pollution of the ocean in episode 4. While plastic pollution of the ocean could be considered a subset of chemical pollution of the ocean, we devoted an entire episode to that problem. While plastic pollution can be considered a subset of the problem of trash in the ocean, we are devoting a separate episode to it. We have found that it works out well to organize things this way. Plastic is such a major contributor to pollution of the ocean that it can eclipse our view of the degree to which other forms of trash contribute to our heavily polluted oceans. If you look up the search phrase trash in the ocean on Google, the first thing that you should see is a Wikipedia article that helps define what trash in the ocean really is. The article states that trash in the ocean is referred to as marine litter. Marine litter, according to the report, is rubbish that ends up in the ocean. Whether intentionally or accidentally, human-made trash has been released into the ocean. A lot of this debris washes up on beaches and is washed ashore. The term beach litter is then used to describe it. This does not mean that the oceans are out of the woods and no longer in danger. What types of rubbish find their way into the ocean? We previously discussed plastic in the previous episode. Aluminum cans and medical waste were not discussed. We didn't discuss cigarettes, food wrappers, or glass bottles either. When we spoke about plastics, we didn't go into detail about the types of plastic objects that these plastics break down into. USA Today has a great story by David Carey on Google that includes a bar graph that shows this. The plastic category was determined to account for up to 8 million metric tons of the total waste. Researchers at the University of California, Santa Barbara, came up with this figure. On top of that, the water is littered with different forms of rubbish. Garbage patches are clumps of waste that have accumulated. It's impossible to talk about rubbish types other than plastic, because plastics make up the vast majority of donations to these patches. According to Sarah Zielinski, who wrote an article for Smithsonian Magazine, 14 billion pounds of litter end up in the oceans. Glass bottles, fishing lines, wood, cardboard, clothing, ceramics, and clinker, a burnt coal waste, are among the items found. The word plastic appears once more. The ocean floor contains a large portion of this. After being tossed around by waves and currents, bottles and other glass items may finally end up on the beach. Trash could have been dumped into the water from boats or offshore installations, or it could have been abandoned on a beach. Storm drains, canals, and rivers can all carry litter. Landfill trash can be blown by the wind. According to estimates, up to 12 million tons of garbage reach our oceans each year. Here's how. People strew litter. Dumpsters are blown out by the wind. Garbage is blown out of garbage cans by the wind. Trash clogs storm drains. Sewer pipes transport garbage. Trash is washed into bodies of water. The following factors endanger aquatic wildlife. 1. Garbage ingestion, which can A. harm the gastrointestinal tract, and B. make it difficult to eat, and 2. by becoming caught in garbage. This may result in A. asphyxiation, and or B. death by drowning. These practices can endanger turtles, seabirds, and marine mammals. Trash not only harms wildlife habitats, but it also harms humans. It has the potential to harm recreation, tourism, and the economy. Trash accumulation in the ocean can result in dwindling fish populations. It's both unpleasant and dangerous when trash washes up on shorelines or floats in the water. It has the potential to destroy watercraft. It is costly to clean up. Garbage that is unable to be recycled is disposed of at a landfill. Trash is coated with intricate drainage and lining systems. It's designed to degrade with the least amount of environmental damage possible. However, as garbage decomposes in landfills, toxins are released into the soil. These items can be food waste and paper products, metals, wood, textiles, yard trimmings, glass, rubber, leather, and miscellaneous inorganic wastes. In 1988, the EPA found that all landfills eventually leak, discharging waste and toxins into the groundwater system. Landfills are a major source of methane. The collection of waste and toxins can include road salt, substances from mining sites, which we have spoken about in our episode about fossil fuels, motor oil, untreated waste from septic tanks, toxic chemicals from underground storage tanks, coal, oil, shale, gemstone, limestone, chalk, dimension stone, rock salt, potash, gravel, clay, and metals such as copper, ore, and mercury. Toxic wastes from landfills can also include ammonia, hydrogen sulfide, methane, and CO2. E-waste goes into the ocean as well. Electronic gadgets and components are not biodegradable. In 2019, 53.6 million tons of electrical waste were collected worldwide. Only 17.4% of these were recycled. It was estimated that this contained about 50 tons of mercury. A great website to view in order to understand the contribution of e-waste to pollution of the ocean is entitled E-waste and batteries in the oceans, and can be found at the URL https://www.europarl.europa EUE 9-2020-006614_EN. Toxic wastes are percolated inside the water. Dredged debris, industrial trash, sewage sludge, and radioactive waste are among the most dangerous waste materials discharged into the ocean. This is responsible for 80% of all rubbish discharged into the ocean. There's also a lot of lead and mercury in there. Aluminum is made by first extracting bauxite and then refining it. Bauxite mining can damage bodies of water in nations where it is practiced. Heavy metal contaminated rivers and sediment are known to create health issues in humans and wildlife. Glass bottle production consumes a lot of natural resources, and glass bottle shipping consumes a lot of fossil fuels. Glass is heavier than plastic. In fact, a 1-liter container of liquid can weigh up to a little over 2 pounds. That's the equivalent of almost 1,000 grams. Despite the fact that glass bottles contribute more to global warming than aluminum cans, both glass bottles and aluminum cans take longer to degrade than plastics. Freshwater is impacted by mining because water is flushed against processed ore and mine wastewater dumped into the water. Remember how we discussed mining tailings in a previous episode? Tailings sludge seeps into bodies of water. Another severe hazard to people and wildlife has arisen. Let's talk about garbage patches. Supposedly there are 5 of them. Each of these is transported by a gyre. A gyre is an oceanic weather-like phenomenon that corresponds to a particular geographical area of the ocean. These are the North Atlantic Gyre, the South Atlantic Gyre, the North Pacific Gyre, the South Pacific Gyre, and the Indian Ocean Gyre. These gyres are said to act like conveyor belts that circulate the ocean waters. They carry these bunches or bundles of garbage that have accumulated. These garbage patches are threats to the health and safety of marine life. Cigarette butts may seem like a minor item, but according to tobacco-free.org, they not only cause choking, but also leach toxic chemicals into the water. The amount of these that end up in the ocean come from the trillions that are thrown into the environment. Guess what? Remember the episode on plastics? Cigarette butts are ultimately another source of plastic. They also bring nicotine and heavy metals into the ocean. The American Cancer Society identifies the following as being some of the toxins introduced into the oceans by cigarettes. This includes nicotine, hydrogen cyanide, formaldehyde, lead, arsenic, ammonia, benzene, and radioactive elements. A group of researchers from San Diego State University used fish bioassays in accordance with the EPA to determine the general toxicity of chemicals leached from cigarette butts to some representative fish species. The data from this study appears in an article entitled Toxicity of Cigarette Butts and Their Chemical Components to Marine and Freshwater Fish. The authors of this article were Ellie Slaughter, Richard M. Gersberg, K.O. Watanabe, John Rudolph, Chris Stransky, and Thomas E. Novotny. This study confirmed that cigarette butts are toxic to fish. They suggested that this study could be used to assess the effects of items like cigarette butts on aquatic ecosystems. Another type of debris that gets up in the water is medical waste. Toxins are released, which cause significant harm to aquatic plants, animals, and other forms of marine life. This includes medications, culture dishes, paper towels, gloves, syringes, needles, and other sharp objects from medical devices, as well as bandages and dressings that may contain blood or other bodily fluids. Another way to classify the many sorts of medical waste that end up in the ocean is to divide them into the following groups. Sharps, infectious, pathological, radioactive, pharmaceuticals, and sanitary waste are all examples of hazardous waste. The World Health Organization categorizes the forms of medical waste in this way. It must be tiring, terrifying, obnoxious, and anxiety-provoking to hear all of the details and levels by which the ocean is polluted, and how close we have come so unthinkingly to killing our planet and all of its inhabitants. The time has come to use our imaginations, intellects, ingenuity, and technology to cleanse our planet's ecosystems. And while I have implicitly or inadvertently criticized certain industries or commercial interests, I am also a believer in a mixed economy. Therefore, I believe that the private sector may be able to play a unique role in innovating forms of green technology and clean energy. So let's clean this place up and give our planet a healthy spectral biosignature, so that perhaps if alien